Hi, family. This is Attorney Nassau, aka Dirty South History, coming to you on today, September the 11th, on what should have been a solemn occasion for our country. Instead, we have to talk about the death of a hate monger and the aftermath of such. Um, as I was going through my feed, I'm noticing that I guess the retaliation has begun, where a lot of HBCU college campuses were threatened today, I guess by bomb threats or threats of great bodily harm to their students and campus workers. I pray that everyone is okay. I pray that these are nothing more than mere threats, but you know that this is probably the backlash for the unaliving of Charlie Kirk. You know, he he died as he lived. You know, he spread a lot of hate and division in this country. And the funny thing is that when you put those chickens out there, eventually they come back to roost. You know, I'm not one that was hoping for this outcome, but it's not an unexpected outcome based on what history tells us. All right. And speaking of history, when I saw what happened to him, it made me remember a historical figure, which is largely forgotten today. His name was George Lincoln Rockwell. George Lincoln Rockwell, the All-American sounding name for a man that preached what Charlie Kirk preached. Okay, this man was known as the founder of the American Yahtzee Party. Okay, they wore the brown uniforms. They had the hooked cross, emblem as their emblem, just like in Germany during World War II. And yeah, this man revived or made, I guess, popular that particular movement in the 50s and 60s. Okay? And this man that I'm telling you about, George Lincoln Rockwell, was a nice looking fellow and a very well spoken fellow. I think he dropped out of Brown University, but they'll let you know that he was not a dummy. And he spewed a lot of racist, homophobic, anti-Semitic, anti-immigrant rhetoric. All right? That's what he did. And the way that he got notoriety was going to these college campuses, debating students, and also conducting anti-demonstrations for civil rights leaders. Okay, this is the blueprint that this man pretty much started that seems to still be in use today in certain segments of our community or our country. And the interesting thing about George Lincoln Rockwell was the way that he met his demise. Rockwell died in 1967 at the hands of one of his neo-Yahtzee supporters. This man climbed up on a roof with a high-powered weapon and unalived that man, who was his former leader. Okay? So these things seem to be cyclical, all right? And the way that movement kind of petered out before his death was that these Anti-Defamation League and other civil rights and human rights movements, they decided to ignore him. And, instead of giving his fuel to spark that heated racial and anti-Semitic and all other, anti-language, which always made the newspapers, they just ignored him. And they kind of sucked the fuel out of that movement. Okay? So maybe there's a lesson there. unfortunately, in our time, we have news stations dedicated to that kind of stuff all day, every day. So I'm not sure how successful it will be today, but I'm just telling you what happened in the past to diffuse that ideology, or at least knock it down a piece during that 60s era. Okay? So yeah, that's a name that you all should put in your toolbox to look up. Maybe it might spark some ideas for you as far as how to counteract this level of hatred that is in this society. George Lincoln Rockwell. All right, you all, be safe out there. There are people who are willing to do just about anything to get, quote unquote, retribution for what they perceive as the start of some kind of war. All right? This is like real life stuff. And if history is our guide, violence is going to be a part of this thing. All right? So be safe. God bless you. Dirty Stuff out.